We just hope that, like you were saying, through unity in the community of our industry, whether it be public adjusters, contractors, attorneys that are on the plaintiff side, we all have and need to be one singular voice. And I used to have SIU unit people, the fake units, walk in and drop their cards and ask for files right now without even calling. I said, no, get out of here. Right. So that's not right. That's not legal. You don't have to. So a lot of people are still getting intimidated with that.
What an amazing podcast episode you are about to listen to. I just finished it. I just wrapped it up with Richie Kidwell. He's the owner of AQA, Air Quality Assessors, and he's also the president of the Restoration Association of Florida, also known as RAF, R-A-F. Very well-known association here in Florida that brings together the restoration industry, mitigation contractors, independent contractors, public adjusters as well. Really try to do what a lot of commercial claims advocate is about, which is bringing people together. But instead, he's got relationships with lobbyists, and we're going to talk about the special session that's coming up in December 12th through December 16th and everything that you need to know about that special session, what they're thinking about implementing, what they're thinking about changing, and also the session in April of next year and about what's to come with that. But also we're going to talk about the differences between an AOB, a work authorization, and a direction to pay, and just really amazing information here. I have to say, I say this all the time, but this time I really mean it. This is a must listen to podcast. From the bottom of my heart. It's not long. Take the time. Listen to it from beginning to end. If you live in Florida, if you're a contractor, adjuster, attorney, whatever it is, if you're in the industry, take the 45 minutes or so to listen to this episode. It is a must watch, a must listen. Enjoy. Thank you so much. This is the Claims Game Podcast. Make sure you subscribe below to our YouTube channel, whatever. Let's get right to the point. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Claims Game Podcast with Vince Perri. Get all the tips you need from insurance claim advocates and professionals and grow your public adjusting career to the next level. And now the commercial claims advocate, Vince Perri.
Okay. Finally, Richie, I get you on the show. Listen up, advocates. Whether you're a public adjuster, contractor, or an attorney, if you have a client that has suffered any kind of catastrophic loss, whether that be by fire or storm or just any catastrophic loss that requires your client to have to move out and incur ALE and loss of use coverage, you need to think about looking at Black Diamond Services. This is an incredible idea for a service that I think is extremely valuable, and I've actually personally used for my clients myself. Basically, what they do is they provide all of the necessary money that is needed to be done for the homeowner to go and move to another place, whether that be a hotel or another home or whatever it is. They basically bill through their insurance policy's loss of use coverage, and basically they provide financial assistance so that the insured never has to incur any out-of-pocket expenses. It's an amazing service. I love the people at Black Diamond Services, especially Millie Varela. If you just contact her and contact Black Diamond Services, I'm telling you, they're going to take care of your clients like you wouldn't believe. I personally have a client who suffered a fire damage and had to use their ALE coverage, and all we did was refer them to Black Diamond. Our clients did not have to come out of pocket a single penny. Black Diamond provided all of the financial money, and they provided the actual location for the homeowner to stay. Amazing service. Contact Black Diamond Services today so you could find out more information for yourself. I have been trying to get you on the show for a long time, but finally we have you here. Richie Kidwell, owner of AQA and president of the Restoration Association of Florida, RAF. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'd love to, not only be on the show, but, see you in live action, which was great. The last event that you put on was fantastic. Just you couldn't have a better group of people there. The presentations were phenomenal, and it was just a great presence, man. So I'm glad to just be included in that group.
It was a good event, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was pretty fun. I think we a great turnout that we had. Speakers were great. All the vendors were great. Thank you for being a part of that, man. And I really appreciate the support.
Yeah, absolutely. Any chance that I can get, for sure, man. I mean, it takes a village, like they say, So in what we do, it really does take a village to help the insureds.
We can't do this ourselves. We need the backing of everyone else. We need the help of everyone else. I always say that our models are stronger together because, I mean, I don't know how it is in your industry, which we'll get into a little bit with mitigation and stuff like that. But in public adjuster industry, at least when I started out over 14 years ago, it was kind of us against us. We were just like trying to grab every claim that we can. And no, I want that claim and this claim. And then everybody would always ask me, oh, do you know this public adjuster? Do you know this public adjuster? And I'm like, no, nobody really knew each other, but by coming together, I mean, I think it makes us so much stronger because, as you know, which we're going to talk about, we're fighting against a multi-billion-dollar industry that's got all the money in the world, that's got all the backing in the world. And, we need to come together in order to combat that and ultimately win. And it's not even about us. It's about, like you said, the insured.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was my, the whole, I would just say, where I started to get or become an activist was in 2014 when I started getting into the game to help insureds. And in 2013, I started using this fantastic tool called an assignment of benefits, where as a consulting company, the last thing people wanted to know is after ServPro left and they have, all this stuff to the dry out and everything established, then they would wait and they would have to get a mold test. And sometimes these folks couldn't afford it. They can barely afford ServPro to come over, but they have this insurance claim that they would be able to have us bill towards, and they didn't have to come out of pocket. And so that now I'm doing other types of services all in the consulting realm within that, but it's covered under their policy. Why not to be able to access it? So in 2014, it was the first year that we were under attack as the whole industry. The restoration industry as a whole was under attack in the legislation, where they were going to ban assignment of benefits, and all these talks started coming out. And I got activated then and formed an association called the Restoration Association of Florida, independent contractors, by independent contractors, for contractors, and for consumers. And we're only as strong as our consumer to be able to help them at their one time of need. Every time we walk into a doctor's office, we're assigning our benefits to our doctor, our primary care physician, the anesthesiologist, the chiropractor. Everybody stays in their lane, and it should be this way for property as well too. But we've been looked at as like villains, and we saw this even strong now that the insurance lobby has such a strong voice today. You'll see them through Jimmy Petronas calling public adjusters and contractors all locusts out there after a storm. And that's just not right. I mean, the folks that we were helping out there, door knocking and assisting them, they didn't have communication, let alone water or any of their home left. It was a breath of fresh air if a public adjuster says, hey, I have cell phone service, I can get your claim started for you, I can assist in getting a full estimate for you, and a contractor or an independent like myself offering either the inspection services and engineering services all on assignment of benefits, so they can make sure their one time of loss that they get everything bundled up. They only have one chance, as they see something a year later, it's too late, and they have to make sure that if their windows don't, open as well as they used to before, their doors don't close and it sticks, those are some things that, we can help them look at and make sure their one time of loss are taken care of. But the carriers don't want that. The carriers are fighting against it, and they're putting a lot of money into their fake crisis of all these insurance companies going out of business. But let's look at the ones that did. Avatar, we knew they were on a string. The other ones were all underfunded, all overpaid their subsidiaries. We all know this, but nobody wants to bring that out. The real villain has been reinsurance rates have been running amok. 46 cents on every dollar that's paid to insurance goes back out the door to reinsurance. But that's never been a sexy headline, so they say it's contractors that are doing it, it's roofers, it's attorneys, and this year the boogeyman is attorneys. So we feel like they're going after attorneys' fees in special session this year, and we feel like they're going to come after public adjuster rates and maybe do a step up. That's from what I'm hearing, is that if you're door knocking on day one, it's a 1%, a step up to 5 or 10% max. I don't see that as being helpful at all. I don't know what's going to happen. These are just rumors, but they're unfair rumors based off of unfair claims and a fake crisis. So it's tough this year. So we just hope that, like you were saying, through unity in the community of our industry, whether it be public adjusters, contractors, attorneys that are on the plaintiff side, we all have and need to be one singular voice and say this is not what's really happening. The insurance companies are on a regular, just straight out denial. We saw this in John Tolley on his website, posted the deposition of an insurance agent or an insurance adjuster who said that I was told by UPC to deny every claim. And it was a year and a half after Hurricane Irma. And they says, deny them all for late reporting, which we have 2 to 3 years within Florida to report this claim. So they said, just deny them all. He says, well, how many times did you do this? He says, he goes, I don't recall. He goes, was it over 100? He said, yes. Was it over 150? Yes. Was it over 180? He says, yes. This is all on record. We know this is to be true. Why we don't hear about that is just uncanny. So it is important for us to be unified and pull our thoughts, our resources, and our money together to have that voice against the unseemingly, too big insurance company and their voice right now.
Damn, Richie, coming out the gate hot.
It's the only way I go, man.
That is awesome. I mean, you gave so much information there. Okay, let's what makes you qualified, Richie? What makes you qualified to talk about these things and to really bring people together? Tell me first, like, how long have you been in the industry? Briefly, how you sort of started and how it just sort of brought you here to where you are right now.
Sure. So, I mean, I had a pretty successful pest control company growing up years back, took over from my family business. And I saw an opportunity. I was already doing these mold inspections along with my termite inspections. And I really started to find a love for that in the early 2000s. Yes, I'm old. But now then licensing came into existence 2012. But before, everybody would just trust the big green guys. You come out and you would have water damage and they would test it and dry it and everything as well. And you're good to go.
And we all know the kinds of jobs that they do when they go out there and set up a bunch of machines, a bunch of dehumidifiers, and they totally forget about it and then come back and everything is still there.
Right. Yeah. 3 days later, we're going to pick up our machines. We're gone. That's all the carriers pay for. You're good to go.
Right.
And that's what we're starting to see now in managed care program workers. So that's a whole nother subject. So 2012 then instituted laws for mold assessments and mold remediators. And so that made that separation of powers. If there's mold over 10 square feet, separate mold assessor license, separate mold remediation license. So 2013, I sold my pest control company and just went for my true love, and that was the mold inspection side of it. And so from there, I started Air Quality Assessors. And we took off from there. And in 2014 was the first time we've heard that that they're coming after the assignment, which we were offering, and we still do today, offer our clients. Here's our competitive cash rates. Here's a direct billing mechanism direct to your insurance company called a service authorization with a direction to pay. If the insurance company doesn't pay, it's not an assignment. The insurance company doesn't pay, you may get a lien on your home in 90 days, or you may have to pay the bill. It's not fair, but that's the way that contract is. Or we have an assignment of benefit tool, which will allow us to bill directly and take causes of action against your insurance company if they don't pay. And 100% of the time, they choose the AOB.
Do me a favor and could you explain a little bit more detail the difference between an AOB and a work authorization, direction to pay?
Sure. Now, most program workers for the insurance companies and many other companies are using it now, since AOB is now different, not dead, it's different. So just remember that. It's where a work authorization is a contract between you and the insured, you and the homeowner, and that's it. Now, within the direction of pay, it gives you authorization to talk to the insurance company and to submit your bill directly. However, the homeowner is still the driver's seat. You're just the hired contractor who has a contract between the homeowner and the contractor, and that's it. Now, in case of a short pay or a denial or any services already performed, that becomes owed by the homeowner within 90 days. Or as a contractor, you lose your lien rights in the state of Florida. So if you're a Florida contractor, you have to make that decision and file your first notice of commencement to the homeowner, unfortunately. And that's what I see more and more. Even then, I was, friends with one of the larger remediation companies in Orlando. And after major storms, I'm like, man, you must be killing it getting all this work from the insurance company. He's like, yeah, but man, I keep hiring on these people to lean homes. I've got 4 and 5 people that all they do is lean homes every day. And I'm like, what are you talking about? All of your work comes from the insurance companies. He goes, yeah, but you won't believe how often they don't pay me. And my only recourse is to file a lien. It gets the homeowner all panties in a bunch, and then they call their insurance company and bug them until they finally pay me.
Wait a minute. They're sent out by the insurance company. They have their own direction to pay signed by the client. They're sent out by the insurance company. I'm assuming they're following insurance company guidelines, submitting their report, and they're not getting paid by the insurance company.
That's right. That's right. And one of the larger restoration companies, I mean, and it happens. One of my members, when I founded the Restoration Association of Florida, his name is Walter, after major storms in 2005, he was leaning homes all up and down the coast. Well, all the old folks got together and went to the Governor Christ at that time in 2007, years after their homes had been liened. And the governor gave him a judgment and said, you must use an AOB on every job from now on. You have to, because that way you will not lien homes all up and down the coastline after a major storm and event. That was Charlie Crist. And so, it was at that point, not many people used the assignment, or it wasn't as many people used it. It just wasn't that highly contested and out in the news. But, that shows the protection that it gives the consumer. If in case of short payment or no payment, we go after the insurance company, not the homeowner.
So please explain in detail the AOB, assignment of benefits.
So the assignment of benefit is just like when you walk into your doctor's office, or if you have a crack on your windshield in the state of Florida, it's free, right? Is it free? Right? Somebody pays for it. But when Safe Flight comes out, what are you signing? You're signing your assignment of benefits, your assignment of rights and benefits, because you are receiving the benefit. And so in exchange for me receiving the services today, just like when you go to the doctor's office, you perform the services today and bill my insurance company later, because you don't know, just like a doctor, you walk in, they have no idea what's going to happen until you leave. Are they prescribing you? Are they diagnosing you? Are they treating you? Right. Same way as here. And so it's very protective to the consumer, especially after the 2019 law change. It says that we have to turn in this assignment within 3 days of signature from the homeowner. We have to have a per unit cost estimate of what we're going to be charging, how much per fan, how much per DHU, how much per, content manipulation, hourly charge, this and that. In my case, how much for the mold test, how much for the engineering test, so we're very transparent. And so everybody knows what we're going to be charging. So not running away with the claim rights. And we submit that to the insurance company, and we provide our services right there for the homeowner. Now, what's different than this is that now we have the rights, as we've already given the benefit to the insured, but we have the rights and the benefit to be able to file suit against the insurance company in case of a short pay or denial. So that keeps the ball in our court. It would be like going to a doctor's office, you leaving, and they hand you an invoice and say, hey, get us paid. And this is not using an AOB. They would say, here's your invoice. Good luck on getting us paid by your insurance company full amount. If you don't, you may have to cover the difference or file suit in your name to get the difference, or just pay me, so that would be very nerve-wracking as a patient walking out of there. Most of the doctors I speak to, they sue the crap out of insurance companies. So even more so than property, even more so in windshields. The average payment is 50% of NAGs. So the independent contractors file suit on the other 50%. Right. It's crazy. And so we don't hear about it, but they're making a big stink of it in this fake crisis, because the rates, and they're using the excessive double-digit rate hikes and that storyline to be able to continue their narrative to increase rates, and give you less and less coverage, and now try to take away your rights from having an attorney in case of a dispute, which they just did that to AOB last year. Now we don't have any attorney's fees. Right. So, what does the industry do, especially on small invoices like mine? So we're working through those solutions, and we just hope that, these further changes to help bring down the double-digit rate increases that we've been seeing in Florida policyholders. We still don't see that to decline. We just see more and more rights taken away from us and public adjusters alike, and homeowner rights and access to courts. So that's unfortunate.
So you're and you started RAF, which is the Restoration Association of Florida. Blind assumption because of all the crap that you have to deal with all of these things. So you're trying to bring the industry together. And like me, where I bring public adjusters together, I love when people say, well, it's because of all the bad apples, and that's the reason why we're doing it, which obviously there's always going to be bad apples in any industry, but I know you see it firsthand. Like I see it firsthand, the good apples, and that the majority are actually good apples. And we have these things in place like the AOB for specifically your industry, but we also have stuff in our industry as public adjusters. We have these things in place to keep all the bad apples out. But what I love is we see all these, we see it firsthand in all of our events, right? Because you hold at least 6 or 7 events a year, if not more. I hold about the same, and we see all the good guys and girls come together. And it's just a shame because all these things that the insurance companies put, all this defense that they're constantly playing against us, it's not so much that it hurts us, but it just hurts the policyholder ultimately.
It really does.
You know?
It really does. And you're right. I mean, the guys and the girls that come to our events are coming there so they can seek information and do it the right way. You know, they say, I'm here to learn. I want to do it the right way. I'm a good guy. The bad guys don't last too long. They come in for a money grab. They're in and out. And this industry, we turn in the bad apples, you know, so I don't think that they even have to enforce it. So, but it is unfortunate for the people that do speak out against them. I don't know about you, but in my early career, I have a drawer full of complaints from DBPR against my license. I have a DFS complaint acting as a public adjuster without a license. I've got a bar complaint against me acting as an attorney without a license. All of it has been dismissed. And I was sued for 2 years for FDUPTA, unfair deceptive trade practices from the insurance companies. All these complaints were set by the insurance company over my 6-7 year career, just starting out. And because they were scared, because we were creating this unified voice and we were up in Tallahassee and I'm speaking against it. So what does this insurance company do? They sue me. For 2.5 years, they called me fraud. Every time I filed a lawsuit for a $1,500 invoice, they would put this 420-page complaint against me, and it still didn't go anywhere. They dismissed their suit. I countersued them for another 2 years. And so all I can say is that I'm happy with the outcome of that. But let me just tell you, they are evil. They'll try to put you out.
So that's why I'm getting complaints now.
Welcome to the circle, man.
It's because you've made it. Stupid show.
You know you've made it once you get complaints on you from all different varieties. Like I've said, it's pretty good. I'm about to frame my bar complaint because most lawyers are like, dude, that's awesome. How does a non-lawyer get a bar complaint? I don't know. But that's how serious they are when you speak out against them. And so it's unfortunate, but I've grown, some pretty thick skin over the years, and I'll continue my fight, and I'll continue being the head of RAF, and continue to lead the fight as long as it takes.
Yeah, I tell my guys now, I'm like, guys, I'm sorry to tell you this. It's my fault, but we kind of have a target on our backs now because of the YouTube show and because of our events and stuff like that. And over the past year, this year, as I say, was like a little bit of a tipping point for us. Yeah, there's been a few. And I have to send them my file, and we have to make sure everything, we send them everything the way it's supposed to be, but that never happened to me. So yeah, that's, I guess, hey, listen, if I'm going to get complaints, I'd rather get complaints from that side than the complaints from my fellow peers. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. When there are always the insurance companies and these fake SIU units, if you are listening to this and you're scared because somebody dropped off a business card at your office that says SIU, it's a fake investigative unit. Led by just a unruly insurance adjuster who made themselves a title and a business card to intimidate you. When I first started, that's why the addresses online that you find, some are real offices. My main office is not listed for that reason. I used to have SIU unit people, the fake units, walk in and drop their cards and ask for files right now without even calling. I said, no, get out of here. So that's not right. That's not legal. You don't have to. So a lot of people are still getting intimidated with that. So I can tell you from experience, it's fake. Don't worry about it. Just do everything right. That's what I try to say is go to these events where we teach you how to do it the right way, use the right contract, say the right things. Don't do anything outside of your scope. Stay in your lane and do it well. And you use that advice and you'll continue to grow your business. And even with all the daggers thrown at you by the insurance companies.
Yeah, that's what I said in my presentation at the event last month. That's basically what I said. I said the way we get around all this is just do your job and do your job right. Special sessions coming up. You mentioned before we started recording, it's going to be in between December 12th and December 16th. I think you've got a bit more information than I do on it. Let's talk about that.
Sure. All right. So the RAF has had lobbying teams since 2014. And that's how, when we are doing our money raise and our membership drives, it's to support our lobbying teams so we can have our ear on the ground to know what changes are coming up. And now that we've gotten stronger, we've had influencing or being able to influence the law, add the things that we want in there. Without us, we would have had 1 year to report any storm instead of 2 years. We had to fight to get 2 years and then 3 years for supplemental. And so over the years, we've been able to grow our lobbying team to add more to it and those types of things. So we've had our ear to the ground for quite a while. And if you saw me on LinkedIn or whatever, every now and then when I get on, I blow up the insurance company. It's kind of fun. Make sure you go to American Disintegrity's page and you'll see me blowing them up all the time. What we've heard is December 12th, that Monday, we'll start special session. We've only heard, of course, the governor's office is the one that's coming out of it, coming out with these things, just like last special session in May. All that writing came from the governor's office. Senator Boyd, which we just heard from him yesterday via teleconference, who carried the last bill and Senate Bill 76. He told us he hasn't heard on what's going to be on the bill. He said that they don't have an appetite to change AOB anymore. Like, we've done enough to AOB, which thank God. But he said that they're coming after what they call one-way attorney's fees. And one-way attorney's fees, which we all know it's not one way, but when they changed it and made it to where over 50% as an attorney is where you can get fees paid by the other side. Well, if you get under 25%, 25 and 50%, you each bear your own cost. If you get under 25%, it's what they call a walk away, to where there's no imposed, it kind of protects the insured. Well, the insurance companies don't like that. So they want to remove that and say, well, if you get under 25%, homeowner, now you're exposed for the defense fees and cost. So that will allow a penalty for the insured to file these frivolous lawsuits, and therefore the lawsuits will drop. That's one way that I've heard of it. They tried the binding arbitration talks, and I hear those are fizzling out, which is great. We don't want to be in binding arbitration every time there's a fee dispute.
That's basically, they're trying to take away the appraisal process completely and just sort of stick you in arbitration.
Right. Where each party must bear their own fees and costs. I mean, you're going to need it. You're going to need to hire an expert. You're going to have to hire an engineer. You're going to have to hire AQA to come out, right? And it's not cheap. And so it's like, it's going to then, anybody that's filing a claim under $20,000-$30,000 is just going to be like, why file it? You know what I mean? Just take it in the forehead and go. And that's what the insurance companies want you to do.
I'm worried about that one. That arbitration one I've been hearing about for the past year. Every time I go to appraisal, the appraiser and I and the umpire, we always get into this discussion where it seems to be that's where it's headed.
Yeah, well, American Integrity is trying it out in their policies, which I filed a suit. The RAF and AQA filed suit against American Integrity for that unfair, unconstitutional, denying access to courts, due process violations that it puts in there when it says, when you have a claim dispute, all disputes go to binding arbitration where each party must bear their own fees and costs. It's not right. So we have to protect that. We have to protect the attorney's fees for homeowners so they can have access to the courts, period.
Back to the attorney fees, just for people to understand, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Richie, but that's basically the demand estimate that the attorney presents, or usually if we start, a public adjuster will present a demand estimate, ends up in litigation. The demand estimate that the attorney presents to the insurance company and basically uses to negotiate a settlement. Ultimately, if it gets less if it's over 50%, it's status quo. Attorney fees gets paid by the insurance company. If it's under 50%, or under 25%, you're telling me that they're trying to change it so that if it's under 25% of the total amount of the settlement amount of the total amount of the estimate, then they're trying to put it on the homeowner to pay the attorney fees and costs of both sides, or just theirs?
That's right. That's right. So if you're suing for $100, if you don't get $251 in a settlement, in a judgment, so if they take you to a summary judgment, or if they take you, let's use $1,000, let's use $100, whatever it is, but you have to get, the 250 out of 1,000. Yeah. So you have to get that $1+ on that. If not, then, and you lose in trial, let's say you lose on a technicality and get zero. Now what that does, it puts the homeowner on the hook. That's even worse. Let's say you go to a hearing, and like I said, there's some sort of technicality. The homeowner now, especially if they go to a directed verdict, I mean, it's going to push the homeowner to say, do you want to leave right now? Because your case is not looking so hot, and it's like nowadays when you get a PFS, now the insurance companies are hitting the insured with a proposal for settlement. It's the same thing. Right? If you don't get, more than a certain amount, then you owe their attorney's fees and costs. And so it is very scary in a way that to where if attorneys might not take a case unless it's slam dunk, and you might not think that's a bad way to say it, but sometimes and many times we see homeowners with legitimate claims, but have a technicality that gets in their way.
Those are the ones that they fight the most. I laugh all the time. I'll walk for so long. I'll walk into a claim and I'll tell a client, this is a slam dunk. And then that's the one that ends up in litigation. Or I'll walk into a house and I'll be like, I just want to prepare you. You're probably going to end up in litigation. And then that's the one that gets paid.
Right. I know. It's,
you just never know. You never know. This is why we always train everybody, all our courses and in my team and everything like that. Like, you just got to prepare everything for litigation. Just prepare everything. Dot your I's, cross your T's. What else we got?
Well, and that's where the industry's going, right? I mean, it's bringing everything to the attorney, and letting the attorney work everything through. No offense to
the attorneys, but that's a shame too. Like, why are we doing that? Because it's just going to take so long. We all know, look, attorneys, all my attorneys that I work with and all you guys in the industry, I love you guys. I really do. We need you, right? Necessary evil.
Yeah, necessary evil.
But look, as a public adjuster, I train every public adjuster. Like, don't be that public adjuster, or I'm sure you do the same. Don't be that water mid company that just says, here you go, sign my documentation, litigation. Here you go, litigation, right. Because that's just going to drag out. We don't get excited. No.
I don't get excited about litigation.
I'm not doing my job.
Right.
It elongates it, and it increases all the attorney fees. Insurance companies have to pay more. Ultimately, we're doing a good service for the insurance company by actually working our file, putting it together correctly, and trying to get it settled between us, and not letting it drag out for more money, for more fees, and for more time in litigation.
Yep. No, I agree. Where I was going with that is that they're trying to also get rid of what they call a direction to pay. That's been on the agenda, in Tallahassee from the insurance companies for years, almost making it like a Texas type of environment. The direction to pay is strong there, but they don't have an AOB, and your direction to pay is too strong. They can make it look like an AOB and invalidate it. It's wild. So, but in Florida, they want to try to take that away, because let's say we do work and it does go to litigation and there's several contractors on it. If all the contractors and the public adjuster, everybody has a separate direction to pay, then that makes the insurance company have to pay all the damages, because there are payments that are owed. There are benefits to be paid, very similar to a car accident, in that way. But it's strange in the way that they want to kind of eliminate the payment directly to the contractor. Meaning they want to pay everything to the homeowner. And that's very scary in a way, because most homeowners have never seen that kind of money before.
It's super scary. It's very scary. When I was working the freeze in Texas, and we had I went over there, a couple water mitigation companies were referring me some work. Their thing where they told me, it's just like, Vince, I'm going to get you in here, but please make sure when they pay the water mitigation bill, we're going to do what we can on our end. Please make sure that we get paid, because what happens is, and I would be lying if I told you I haven't made that mistake before. where the water mitigation bill gets slipped into that estimate that's paid out by the insurance company. It's this small little line item. The insured gets this check for $50,000. Ooh, yippee, $50,000 to do all the work. They don't see that line item in there for $8,000 that needs to be paid to the water mitigation company. And then it sucks because the homeowner probably wants to obviously pay that, but then let's say you're going to follow up a month later. Hey, did you receive that check? Yeah, I did. $50,000. It's great. Well, you owe me $8,000 in that 50. What do you mean? No, I don't. Well, look in your estimate. It's in there. And then it sucks for them. It sucks for you to have to make that call. It sucks for them because they probably already hired a contractor and they already started the process that's going to cost $50,000. They're not aware that now they technically have to now come out of pocket for the $8,000 fee that you have. Yep. Or if they would have just had an AOB, they wouldn't have had to worry about it. They would have received $42,000. They would have been happy with their $42,000 to do the work, and everybody would have been fine.
Right. And that's the power of the direction to pay. Water would have been paid, $42K would have been paid to the homeowner. They know exactly what they needed for the rebuild. And so, and that's what it would turn into here, especially with volume companies. It would turn into, which we see, because the volume we do is the high amount of folks it takes in the background, to collect that money. It's insane. We've seen other companies in the industry now puff up because they do back end collections. It's a real thing, man. It takes a lot of work.
Well, I deal with it with flood now, or for Hurricane Ian, they don't put the PA on the check. They send the check directly to the homeowner. And even with us, I mean, I'm holding their hand throughout the whole process. But when that check comes in, they're just like, oh, wait, I owe you 10%, but why? What did you do or whatever it is? It's like, no, you owe me, but they didn't put you on the check. Why would I owe you money?
Right. Right. And yeah, in today's current environment, especially on an AOB, we can say, listen, I mean, you have to cancel that check and resend it, and that's the power we want to be able to keep here in Florida. So it's scary with that. Some of the things I've heard about public adjusters are just been hearsay, is just like, we want to limit door knocking public adjusters to a 1% the first day or first week.
To be clear, this is in the special session you're saying, right? In
the special session, correct.
Yeah. What have you heard about public adjusters?
So very minimal, but this is some of the water cooler talk. Who knows if anything's going to change or they're going to wait till regular session? I don't know. But they said that they were talking about ideas of doing a 1% on the first day to a certain period of days, and then 2% and 3% as the days go further out. And or limiting door knockers, public adjusters to a certain smaller percentage, like say 5%. So we've heard of these types of caps or just an overall cap, but I've heard the step up more than once. I don't
understand. The 1%, 2%? What is that?
Now what they were unclear of, if they were going to go day 1, 1%, day 2, 2%, or week 1, week 2, week 3 after a major storm to step up the percentages because of the locust comment. So that's what I mean about that step up. And so as it gets further away, then you would be allowed up to a 10% cap instead of 1 year after. Now you have 20%. So they are yeah.
I heard 5% that they want to, instead of the cap at 10, they want to drop it to 5
for the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so we know we don't have that in commercial policies, you can still charge the rates. This is just talking about Florida regulated HO3 policies. But yeah, man, it's scary times we're in. The next 2 years, we have the Senate President Pasadomo. The only value we see in of her living in the Southwest area, her home was affected by Hurricane Ian. And so a follow-up to see how the insurance companies are treating her, I would be key. And then we have Speaker of the House incoming, Representative Renner. And so we know that they are both going to do whatever the governor wants to do. So we're just going to keep our ear to the ground and just continuing to report what we do here. And that's what we did here. We heard that they want penalties. The insurance companies want penalties for insureds who file suit and they don't collect at least that 25%, we've heard them wanting to step up and start with a 1% for public adjusters, up to a 5% or a 10% cap, depending on how far away, or maybe have certain restrictions on door knocking public adjusters after a storm. So those are some things that would just restrict being able to help a homeowner immediately.
So remember, guys, December 12th, December 16th. What's worst case scenario? What's worst case in Richie's mind in 2 years?
Worst case would be them removing full access to courts for homeowners, meaning they would just either institute a binding arbitration statewide or remove attorney fee privileges statewide. That's worst case scenario, and that would not be good for the voters here in Florida. It wouldn't be good for Governor DeSantis, as he's looking to run for presidency in 2 years. So, what we've heard initially is that he was going to offer tax savings. So for those that are affected in the 26 counties for Hurricane Ian, if you're not living in your home's destroyed, then you should get a tax credit. You shouldn't have to pay your property taxes if your home's destroyed. I love that. So if he sticks to that, that would be fantastic. If he starts, dipping his toe in these other things that would not allow insurance property rates to go down, then I don't know. It's just going to be a disaster.
What can we do? What can the consumer do? What can we do? What can I do? Other public adjusters and what would you suggest that we try to do here before December 12th and 16th, maybe throughout that time? Anything that you would suggest that you could try to rally the troops?
Or pray. Not only donate to our organization, the voices that are doing something about it. Every penny we use at the Restoration Association of Florida, 100%. I was going to say a lot of my money I put into it. So we are not a for-profit company for sure. But go to our website, raflorida.org. There are other organizations that have a voice for consumers, like the Florida Justice Association. A lot of the attorneys are members of their trial attorney bar that fights for consumers. But really, it's letting the representative or the senator in your zone send them an email and tell them how important it is, and say, I'm a business owner of 50 families. And that speaks to them, and say, I live in your zone. I'm worried about special session. I'm worried about taking away access to courts for homeowners, consumers that need it. This fake crisis you're hearing is not right. Taking away more rights for consumers is going to be hurtful, not helpful. Help. I mean, that's a lot of what we can do, is be boisterous in that, and send an email to your representative, support industries or voices like the Restoration Association of Florida, and be involved. I know you guys have FAPIA, who has lobbyists and a voice there in the legislature. Is call them, ask them what they're doing. How can you be supportive as a public adjuster to make change? If you're worried about assignments and first party, and our rights, donate to us. That's what we can do right now, is just be a part of it. Like Senator Farmer used to tell us when he'd come to our events, he'd say, if you're not at the table, you're on the table. So be involved, and don't just sit back and see what's going to happen, but be involved.
Love it. I love it. That was killer. That was awesome. Richie, I think you gave us a lot of information. I kind of just want to end it at that. I don't want to no small talk, no need for it. I think people are now a lot more educated about the special session. And then after the special session, December, then in May is the normal yearly session, correct?
April. Yeah. So we start in April and it goes for 60 days. So, and then the next year it starts in January, and then April, and then January and April. So that's the way they do it. So, but there are 4 committee weeks, before April, meaning that all of the senators and the, representative come to Tallahassee to start moving through bills. So the first committee week is December 12th, which they're using as special session. Now, be on the lookout and Google search Florida Governor Special Session Proclamation. As soon as it's released, it'll be released online. The proclamation outlines what he's going to do during special session. So once that comes out, we'll know what's going to happen. And so he can actually file it the day before if he wants. And so he may keep it close to his chest until then. We don't know. But we'll see in the upcoming couple of days when that will be released.
Richie, you mentioned raflorida.org. How else can people get in touch with you and really stay up to date with all these things? What would you say is the best way to sort of follow you along? Because I know you're very active on social media. What's the best place to find you so that people can stay up to date on this stuff?
Sure. So we have a full-time person that does post on all social media. So find us on LinkedIn, find us on Facebook, go to our website and put in to be a part of our email. That's one way to do it. We also have a text blast that we send out for immediate information. But I would say be involved that way. Go to our website, sign up either as a member. Members get first information sent to them, and then after that, you can just subscribe to our email list, and we'll send emails that way. Best way to get a hold of us.
Awesome, Richie. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for bringing the heat right from the get go. I love how we just got right into such important topics. Didn't waste any time. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're a busy person. Obviously, all of us are after this hurricane, but like you and me, we are so involved on the back end with other things. And I know it's hard and your time is precious. So thank you so much for taking the time, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. See you soon.